Leo niko na guests na ako na jina noma sana. He could have chosen, na usicheke, he could have chosen to call himself Sammy K. Ama Samuel K. But his names are Samuel Kimani. But if you like better, it's called Bamboo, the African Bantu. Karibu show, man.
Thanks, bro.
This is Coffee and Movie. Sip some coffee first.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Kahawa lazima. Then naweza kuwa nimeharibu intro, so ipige tu kivyako sasa hapo. Introduce kwa watu.
Yes, mimi naitwa Bamboo African Bantu, also known as Tim Simon Kimani, and nimefurahi kuwa hapa with Mr. Mbuvi to have coffee with Mbuvi. Na tuongee mambo mawili matatu. Mengi
au sio? 1 2 3 4 5 15 years in the US, man.
Yeah.
How was that like? Ulizaliwa huko?
No, I was born here.
Oh, you were born here.
Nilienda nikiwa mtoi sana.
Ile hata huwezi kumbuka, ile una rely on what they say.
Yeah.
So by the time you came to a realization, you're in America.
Yeah.
You only know you have roots in Kenya, but you're an American.
Yes.
So how was it when you're in the States? What do you remember then at that time?
I enjoyed my childhood, but as I grew up now, public school, going to school with other young American boys.
Right.
It depends highly where you live.
Yes. Where were you at? Where were you living?
We were in California. So, we moved around quite a bit. Like we were in Inglewood. Now. Inglewood.
Samee ukamba wangu.
Movie to a joke. So we were Inglewood, alafu, but where you live, obviously, it depends on how much you make. So now where we lived, we were the lower guys. So and then also where you live is what dictates what school you go to.
Oh wow!
So now we were in the lower schools, and then I was going to the school for the lower guys also. So maze, I was say all my boys were hood.
Yes.
Maze, they were no joke. Nilikuwa najikuta na fight almost all the time, man. Yani vitu ka hizo. It was rough, man. Those boys box, man. Watu pigana sana. It was rough, man. Haikuwa mchezo.
Was that a weird contrast? Your folks your dad is a minister of the gospel.
Yeah, but those days he was he was just an employee. He was not in ministry.
Oh, so then there was no conflict of sees my dad and fivefold ministry.
Dad became a minister here in Kenya, Vile Alirudi, but
when you came back.
Yeah. But over there he wasn't doing ministry at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you came back, what was it like? That change of scenario. This time you're 15, you're a teenager. By that time when you're in the US, you're already getting adept with the life. You're a guy in America, obviously you're an American. Then you come back to Kenya.
Yeah.
What was that shift like?
It was tough. And then I'm only 15 when I came back to Kenya, and then nilienda Riru High. Riru High.
From America, Inglewood. Roiro High.
Usini enjoy?
Siko enjoy. You're past that. That is history. Let me tell you, kuna watu wako place better than Roiro High na wanaona wako chini. It's good wajue. Now when I look at the end product, when everyone thinks about Bamboo, you enter a room. I was with you in a certain room this week somewhere, and you entered and the air changed around. Everyone is thinking, hey, is it an Americano? Na alikuwa Roiro High. So you can make it too.
Kwa Roiro High. Then, finished high school and continued my studies, but I got into music. That thing of music really. And then while I was here, my parents bado walikuwa stato.
So who did you come back with?
I came back alone. I stayed with my uncles.
Why did you come
back? Stayed with
with
relatives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Granted, how come you came back alone?
My parents walikuwa nataka I get my Kenyan culture and everything and get to know where we come from.
Are you the firstborn?
Yes.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense why Victoria Kimani, for example, didn't come back with you. You are the...
Yes.
Okay. So you come back, Roiro. So when you're... By the time you're starting K South Flavor, Kariobangi South Flavor, you were living in Kariobangi, or you guys just called it that?
No, we met first, and then is when I moved to Kariobangi. But before that, I didn't, hatukuwa tunajuana. So when we met, now through hip hop and things like that, that's when I moved to the hood. Yeah.
That is with Abbas Dubis.
Yeah.
So where did you meet? In a gig? Where did you meet?
No, unakumbuka zile nini za F2.
Yes, of course.
Jam session.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we met. We met at the F2 jam sessions.
So you're doing your thing, he was doing his thing?
Yeah, they were providing a platform for talent.
Yes.
So, youth, watu walikuwa wanajaa huko. So we would go there, I would go there, do my thing.
Yeah. Speaking with an accent, Kenyans are like, whoa.
No, I came to finish, guys.
So you finished that. Can you imagine that accent? And guys, it's still there, guys. You can feel it. Yeah.
So yeah. Mm-hmm. So we did I started doing competitions.
Yeah.
Apo F2, and then we just decided let's just make music together, man.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how K South now began to grow.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but credit goes to you and Dubis, or you, one of you, or both of you, for coming with the terminology kapuka.
Yeah.
I think it's you.
Yeah, that was me.
Because you guys came up, kapuka this, kapuka that. But then there was no name kapuka.
Yeah.
And these guys were actually dissing Ogopa DJs. I've just remembered. That's true.
Yeah.
But that jam was a hit.
Yeah.
Watu wakatike.
Yeah.
Kapuka that.
Kapuka, I coined that phrase.
You coined it.
Yeah.
You're a genius, man. From there, now we have Kinadadioen singing Kapungala. Kapungala is really Kapuka and Lingala.
Yeah.
We have Lanaron singing, what does it call? Kigolinga. People started now mixing genres and calling them something.
Yeah.
I did a song called Nikilame Wanishike, and it's a fusion of Kwaito and Kapuka. So,
yeah.
Gota.
Thanks, bro.
So what was the highlight, the biggest highlight of K South Flavor?
Maybe, touring. Anyway, we traveled to TZ. We were touring all over TZ. We used to get love in TZ, man. Wow. Those guys love hip hop. They love music. They love East African.
They celebrate music.
Yeah, they celebrate big time. So a 2-week stay turned into a 6-month tour.
What?
Yeah.
You guys were just meant to be there for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Go do our shows and come back. But now this led to more interviews and more shows, which led to more airplay, which led to more. Just one thing led to another, and our stay extended from 2 weeks to 6 months.
What was that like?
It was awesome. Hey, it was an adventure, man. We were like, we are doing what we love and getting paid.
And Kakitu was, yes, I was going to ask that. Kakitu was coming in.
Yeah. So it was awesome, man.
Did you get tempted to shift camp to TZ?
I was like, what are we going home to do? But then, even in Kenya, shows started picking up also. So, we come back to Kenya also, and then East-West home is best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Then fast forward, you decide to move now to the US. Was that to push on with your career, or was that to study, or a bit of both?
No, that was touring also.
That was touring.
Shows, just going for concerts and shows, and and it's funny because my parents were surprised I had gone back, through music, not through them or anything. Yeah,
they were shocked.
Yeah, just that I just started touring. And then statewide, from state to state, from New York to California to Atlanta to New York to wherever. Yeah. And then I said, man, while I'm here, let me use my connections and network with guys and get into, American music industry.
Yes.
So yeah. Which was like a logical progression, That's where I got my skills anyway. That's where I learned how to put words together and rhymes together and things like that. So yeah.
Did you get proficient producers in the US? Were you working with Kenyan producers in the US or US producers? Links to US producers?
Yeah.
Okay.
And both, and even Kenyan producers would send me beats. Yeah. But mostly US producers. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you meet somebody called Crystal.
So while I was in Atlanta, I met with this guy called Andre. Now, Andre Mendoza is a very cool guy, and he's one of the who's guys, in the industry. His nickname was Hollywood. Now, Hollywood used to manage a sporting events group called And One. I don't know if you've heard of And.
And One, I know the shoes.
Yes. Now those guys play street basketball, you know. So, you know, and maybe you've checked out some of their players like Hot Sauce. Hot Sauce is those guys dribble
skills
and then
like madness.
Like mad. Yo, the guy can play you and make you look like a fool on the court, you know. So those guys, then him and Spider was this other guy who slam dunk the ball. Like this guy would jump from far and dunk. And me, I love sports. But now he used to manage them. So he heard my music. We started talking. He started managing me.
Wow.
Yeah. So we moved to, now he's from Brooklyn, New York. So he said, man, I've got connects in Brooklyn. I've got connects in New York. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, let's go. You know, we jumped in my car from Atlanta to Brooklyn.
How far is that?
I had like maybe 13-hour drive. 12-hour
Mombasa
drive.
and back.
Yeah.
And back. Mombasa back and back to Mombasa.
Yeah. We got there, and then, you know, one of his best friends was very close to Jermaine Dupri. Yeah. So Def, the Brat, and yes. So, you know, they could get us meetings, you know, and a lot of this industry is network.
Yeah.
So we went to Brooklyn really to network, but while I was there is when I met Crystal. Yeah. At a barber shop, funny enough, and you know, she wasn't there to get her hair done, but yeah, I met her there. And we hit it off, man. We were cool, man. She was such a cool chick, you know. She was half Jamaican and half Italian.
Wow.
She used to talk with that Jamaican accent.
Yeah, it's very attractive. It feels so nicely.
Yeah. She was so smooth. So you know, we were very cool. Like from that time on, we just started talking and calling and whatever. Then after we started dating is when she really started like listening to the music. Like, hold on, let me listen. So she said, whoa, you're really good. You should have a deal. You know, you can get a deal. And I was like, yeah. That's pretty much the plan. You know, we want to get...
Hold that thought. There's a cut in the set, so we got to cut and come back for the next slot to Skip Mambo ya Crystal. This is Coffee with MBUVI. We'll be back right about 2 minutes.
As the country gears up for possible BBI referendum and 2022 general elections,
as the salvos enter too familiar territory,
William Ruto will serve his 5-year term as the deputy president.
Pundits Night is here to give you powerful, thought-provoking political commentaries.
The mountain can produce a country.
they give Moses Kuria a chance to respond. Let me ask you this. Are you not taking advantage of first my situation?
You talk about the people with the ultimate power.
Kikuyus will vote for somebody from outside their community to be the next president of this country.
We talk to the newsmakers, the opinion shapers, and the pundits.
Fair enough. I believe
that part so that I don't lose.
As we dissect everything you need to know to make an informed decision. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates.
The position of the Prime Minister will go to a party with the most elected members.
I clearly know that neither Raila nor Ruto are in the work plan on the roadmap for transition as far as the government is concerned.
Informative health discussions, business, farming, Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs, and music bands.
Back to the seasons of my years.
Every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Coffee with MBUVI is so popular mpaka paka zinataka kuja kunywa kahawa. Interview yake itakuwa siku nyingine. But today I'm with Bamboo, the African band too. And you're telling us about meeting up with Crystal, the half Jamaican, half Italian lady.
Yes.
Yes.
So she told me, wow, you should have a deal, you know. And then...
This is after she heard you do your thing.
Yeah. And then she was like, I know why you don't have a deal yet. I can hook you up. Mm-hmm. So now for her to hook me up, hook you up, Manisha, I can get you to the guys who can get you in, you know.
Yes.
So she's the one who introduced me now to a certain priest who happened to be a Santeria priest.
Santeria.
But this guy...
What is Santeria?
Santeria is a religion. It's a form of... it's idolatry. It has its origins in Yoruba. And they mixed that Yoruba...
Nigeria.
Yeah. Yoruba, and they mixed it with Latin idolatry.
Gosh.
So yeah, it's
thing,
witchcraft. It's morphed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a morph of the two. But is full of witchcraft. It's definitely witchcraft. So she said, I'll take you to this priest and he'll pray for you and you'll get your deal. So this priest had a shop in New York. Now in this shop, there's all kinds of things. You walk in, there's stuff that's like you're wondering, like there's candles with names of saints, Saint Peter, Saint Paul, Saint Anne, Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and all of these different candles for love, and candles for money, and candles for relationships, and things like that. And then there's literature.
Yes.
Books. Books with spells, incantations.
Yes.
I'm like, man, this stuff is crazy. But back then, I never used to believe in witchcraft or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I never even believed that stuff existed or that stuff was real. So then that shop was full of stuff. Incense. I think everything you need to do incantations and witchcraft, you can find it. That was a witchcraft shop. That was yeah. So here we are. We're in the shop. And then, at the cash register there at the counter, where, you go to buy and whatever, there's a machine there, of course, for processing your purchase. Yeah. So, there on the counter, there's the Grim Reaper. So not your Grim Reaper. So you
yes.
Your statue a Grim Reaper, Maji.
This is I used to watch, and there was a Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
I'm bleaching my balls. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. His statue, it looked like the Angel of Death or something like that, with a black robe and a skeleton and it's holding a pole.
Yeah.
It's a sickle. It's called a sickle,
yes,
but it's just a pole with a blade on the end of it. So now that pole was tied up with dollars from the bottom to the top. Dollars. So, I think she had explained to him, this guy needs a record deal, this guy needs what. So the plan was, he told me, yes, we can just, initiate you into our brotherhood, into our order, and believe me, within a short time, your career will take off.
Were you meant to pay anything for that service?
He didn't tell me about any payment. It might have, but he didn't tell me about anything.
Oh, you probably didn't get up to that point.
I didn't get to that point. So I told him, well, while we were at the shop, I told him, let me think about it. Let me read some of this stuff, read some of their literature. So I grabbed some books, paid for them, and then we left. Now, I didn't know Sikwanajua, even carrying the books of witchcraft or carrying anything that belongs to the devil to your house can invite the enemy
into your house.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. So, but I bought the books to just say that, just to pretend that, let me think about it and leave. But I had pretty much made my decision while I was there. Yes, I was in the secular world, parties, industry, nini, but I didn't know that. I didn't believe in that witchcraft stuff anyway. And then a small voice was telling me, "Hey, this line, if you cross it,
You're done.
You might be done."
Imagine meeting a gorgeous fly woman. Mixture. Think this mixture. Jamaican. You've seen those fly Jamaican ladies. Italian. That mixture. She's hot. She's looking good, and she tells you, "Hey, you got talent. I can hook you up, my guys." Do you think you'd find a person like that taking you to a whole witch doctor or wizard's place? This is weird. You bought the books?
Got the books, went back home. Then, it was just shortly after that I believe that I definitely heard the devil's voice loud
and
clear. And I was in the washroom alone, but I heard him loud and clear. He spoke, he said, "I can give you a record deal and make you famous and give you everything you've ever imagined and more. Now that voice came it was a booming voice.
It was a booming voice.
Very big.
You couldn't mistake it for anything.
Yeah, and lots of bass.
God.
And his voice sounds like Bongela Mtu, man. It's not a small. It's not a small person. It's talking like that. And then the sound came from 360 degrees. So now it's not like you see it that way I'm talking and you can tell the sound comes from. If somebody calls you from there, you'll turn that way.
Yeah, because you know that's where the voice is coming from.
That's where the voice is coming. But this voice, the sound is coming from all 360 degrees. So it's like, hey, that was the first time I was even experiencing something like that. So he told me, and he knows what to say because he knows what you're looking for.
You at the washroom?
Deal. And I'm in the washroom by myself.
What was the devil doing in the washroom? Does he use the washroom?
So, I think he just looks for opportunities to isolate you when you're by yourself.
Yes, because at that time, those are the places, the times you think. I write music when I'm showering, so I imagine that's the time you're freest. So washroom is the same thing altogether. Booming voice! Has he come here? No, he cannot come here.
So, I just ignored the voice. I did not respond. I didn't speak to him. I just walked away. But I heard it loud and clear, but I pretended I didn't hear anything. Then I got rid of those books. Somehow I knew, just intuitively,
you could sense.
This thing has come to talk to me because of those stupid books. So I took those books and got rid of them. So after that was the last time I heard that voice.
Right.
But, you don't just turn the devil down like that and he leaves you alone, So,
he's great at follow-up.
Yeah. He'll pursue. So I decided, eventually I even left Crystal alone because that girl was deep in things, man. And
And a nice-looking chick.
Yeah, very fine.
You can't imagine.
Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. So, yeah. So the devil can use women or use somebody who you find attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, the devil has very attractive people, very beautiful people.
So he's not as ugly as we always think, or in ugly places like we think.
Lucifer himself, the Bible talks about him. He says he was perfect in beauty. Have you ever seen somebody who's perfect in beauty?
I don't think I've seen it. I've seen clothes. Maybe crashes.
Now Nikiwa Stato, when I was a young guy, I had a cyst in my gum. It was cancerous. So my lip used to protrude like this. So I used to be made fun of in school. So, but while I was that being made fun of gave me some access. Sometimes the ladies would just let me hang around and make jokes about me, but they'd be talking about boys.
Right.
And the boys they're talking about are just the best looking boys in school. So they would talk about, oh, he is so fine.
Yeah.
He is fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you're privy to their info.
Yeah. So I'd find it so strange that ladies talk about men like that. And the guys would talk about fly chicks like that too, So I realized growing up that beauty is very powerful. So now just imagine somebody who's perfect in beauty. The devil is not this horned beast.
Like we think. Yeah, because the Bible says he comes at times as an angel of light.
Yeah. Now while he was in heaven, he was perfect in beauty. There was no flaws in him. So just imagine the favor and the fame that he had. And then the skill, because now his body is full of musical instruments.
He does this, there's music flowing. He does that, there's music.
Music, and then he can sing the angelic voices and the human voices, and he sings lead and he sings the backup, and
he's all music.
He was all music, man, and it is loud. He doesn't need a mic, he doesn't need an amplifier. And then, because of the stones that he's built with, he can illuminate different colors.
Wow.
So now this is the being that would sing to usher in God's presence.
Wow.
So now just imagine how great he was. You see, now a being that can sing like that and fly and begin to move. I don't know if you see the awards sometimes, MTV Music Awards.
Yes, I do.
You see how they try to have, singers, like Pink, swinging back and forth. Well, this angel could fly. He was a cherub, really. He was a cherub. So he could fly and sing, and everybody around can hear.
Yeah.
And he'd illuminate the sky, so it's lights and it's singing and then the presence of God would come.
No wonder he felt hot.
He felt he was the guy, man.
I'm the one. Why can't I get this glory, man? Yeah. Why do I have to do all this? Then you are checking.
And I think he looked at the humility of God and he's like,
he's missing it.
I can take him out. just because of, because God is so humble. But he found out the hard way. But yeah, so you see how this same devil uses music. Mm. And because music is a mode of transportation, you can transport a spirit to your location using music, using enchantments, using repetition like that. You can, bring in a spirit. So anyway, she introduced me to this guy. I said no. I threw out the books, but that battle didn't stop there. I put it behind me, like, forget about it. Because
I'm done with that.
Yeah, who am I going to talk to about this, and who's even going to believe me that I heard a voice? Like, they'll be like, lay off the ugali.
Yeah. When we get back, we'll be talking to Bamboo about him having written some music for Convict Music. Do you know Convict Music? That is where Akon was meeting up with so many other stars. And maybe he might just tell us some of the guys who are in. Did you call it Santorini? Santo what?
Oh, yeah. Santeria.
Santeria. We'll be right back with Bamboo. Don't touch the dial.
As the country gears up for possible BBI referendum and 2022 general elections,
as the salvos enter too familiar territory,
William Ruto will serve his 5-year term as the deputy president.
Pundits Night is here to give you powerful, thought-provoking political commentaries.
The mountain can produce a country.
Give Moses Kuria a chance to respond. Let me ask you this. Are you not taking advantage of first my situation?
You talk about the people with the ultimate power.
Kikuyus will vote for somebody from outside their community to be the next president of this country.
We talk to the newsmakers, the opinion shapers, and the pundits.
Fair enough. I believe
that part so that I
as we dissect everything you need to know to make an informed decision. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates.
The position of the Prime Minister will go to a party with the most elected members.
I clearly know that neither Raila nor Ruto are in the work plan on the roadmap for transition as far as the government is concerned.
Informative health discussions, business, farming, Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs, and music bands.
Back to the seasons of my youth.
Every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Did you know that your business keeps our economy running?
You need the skill, not the papers.
Always tell yourselves, one day at a time. You can't do everything under one roof.
Over time, I've had to realize that good things take time.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Before the markets open, farmers begin their day, each with the desire to produce the best. But how can they increase the numbers, maintain the standards,
Aitoi ile garlic inafaa itoi, that standard garlic,
reduce the cost,
we spread our risk,
and yet remain the best? Kilimo Diaries, every Sunday when the clock hits 7:30 p.m. Chop, mix, steam, grill, fry,
We are back on Coffee with Mbuvi. My name is Mbuvi na leo niko na Bamboo. Ana bambuzul na stories zingine hapa interesting sana. Santeria. Do you know any of those celebs who are out there who are into Santeria and stuff?
Yeah, you know, some of them don't even hide.
Really?
Yeah, but you know, maybe Santeria, that particular cult, is more famous with, you know, Hispanics, like J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez.
She's into that.
Santeria, yeah.
And she doesn't hide it.
Yeah, and her ex-husband is big in Santeria. There's very many of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You wrote some music for Convict Music. How did you get to do that?
While in Atlanta, I met with Akon's cousin. Akon's cousin is called Lee.
It's called Lee?
Yeah. His name is Lee. So I met Lee, and Lee listened to some of my music, and he was like, okay, come in and write. But it was just for a short time. But yeah, I met Lee, and Lee brought me to Akon's studio. Actually, Akon was still working on that studio, so he was like, when it's ready, you know, I'll let you know. But he brought me into the place where it was still under construction and everything.
Right.
He said, yeah, when it's done, you know, I'll bring you in. So I came in, and just for a short time, you know, and then continued traveling, because I think it was around that time that I decided, let me come back to Kenya and do what and continue, you know, making music. I still had music that was booming here, so I was like, you know, let me do some tours, and you know, I missed home anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what caused your total turnaround, and you said, no. Now it's all about gospel, it's all about God, I don't forget about all this other stuff?
Now, when I got back to Kenya, I was really excited, man. There was a lot going on, you know, and so many artists I wanted to also collaborate with, and tours I wanted to do, and just stuff you could do, stuff you could do in the industry.
Yes.
You know, and so I was pretty excited. But then a short time after that, all the doors started closing, and I mean everything. Business connections, financial connections, studio connections. I would go to the studio, lights in a potea.
What?
I'm like, I stay for some time. Then when I leave, lights in a Rudy. This is not just once. This is like over and over. It got to the extent I could not record.
That's weird. Hold up. You go to the studio, lights potea. You leave, lights are back. You go open a certain door.
This was taking place
weird.
for like 8 months. Now who are you going to tell?
My friend, you are living the Jonah kind of life. You remember Jonah? In the Bible. He was in that boat. And there was trouble everywhere.
There was trouble everywhere. There was nothing. The ATM manze kadi likuliwa. Sio one time, many times, my friend. Like, how do you explain this stuff? Everything that could go wrong did.
Yeah.
I realized it's possible for things to go south for anybody. Then, and I believe it was at that time I began to realize, life is, you know, beyond what we can see with our eyes.
Before we go there's an element of Dr. Jafar.
Yeah. That's where I met him.
That's where you're,
Yeah, that's how I ended up meeting him. A lady, again, was looking at me like bamboo.
You guy and lady.
One of our kwambali sana.
You guy,
No, she was just a manager at the time. But she wasn't managing me, but she managed other artists.
Okay.
And she was like, Bamboo, you should be, doing ABCD. What's up, Maze? Why are you disappearing like that? And she said, you know what? There's a guy you can call. Just like Crystal. It's funny how the enemy uses ladies a lot.
That is the US, this is Africa, Kenya, and it's the same thing. Right.
So she connects me to this guy called Jafari. She said, okay, so I called Dr. Jafari. Jafari tells me everything that's going on in my life.
A to Z, ATM inamezwa, stima zinapotea ukienda studio, nyumba pengine imefungwa.
So, but now what he tells me is that there's people who have put curses on your life, jealous artists or something, people who are jealous of you have put things in your life, wakuzuie, so that nothing you try works out. So they can lock you up from traveling, they can lock you up from making money, they can lock up your businesses, they can curse everything in your life and shut you down. I said, but I have the remedy. And his remedy wasn't Jesus. His remedy was uchawi.
What did he tell you to
Witchcraft.
do?
He was an Obia man. He was a Sangoma from Tanzania. You know, those Tanzanian Sangomas are deep.
Yeah.
He was deep in things. So he said, come to Mombasa. So I traveled to Mombasa. He picked me up in his car. He wasn't a dirty looking witchcraft guy. He was very clean, very well, clean cut, driving a very nice car. Yeah, picked me up, took me to the hotel. Then he said, 20 officini. So we went to his office. Hey, for the first time I'm seeing an altar of witchcraft, but I didn't know this is witchcraft, but I'm seeing strange things, man.
Paraphernalia.
A calabash, yeah, things on a mat on the ground. Strange things. So he told me to take off my shoes and sit down. I took off my shoes and sat down. Then he starts reciting an incantation, because he looked like a Muslim. In fact, his name is Muhammad.
Okay.
So he looked like a Muslim. So he starts reciting, Bismillah, Ar-Akbar, blah, 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 that Arabic, deep Arabic. And then after reciting that, from the calabash comes a voice. A very distinct voice speaking of that very old Swahili, a very ancient Swahili mixed with mixed with Arabic. But it's coming from the calabash, and it's just me and him in the room.
Calabash.
And I think the time must have been around 11:30 p.m., 12 midnight. It was just me and him. But
what was your first reaction when you heard voice from
I was
Calabash?
going to freak out, but then again, I'm like, okay, if these guys have real powers, then I don't want to freak out and bring things on myself.
Startle them and then they harass you now.
Yeah. I don't want that. So I just stayed calm, and acted as if ini kitu ya kawaida, So him and Jafari and that thing conversated. They went back and forth, and then that spirit gave him direct instructions. I was to go and buy a can of what is this thing called? Zesta. Then he told me, buy this Zesta. When you go back to the hotel, shower, and you say all of the curses that my haters have put upon me should leave me and go into the can.
He gave you particular curses, or some of the things you're imagining must have happened.
Yeah, no, he just told me all of the curses.
Right.
All of the curses.
Right.
All of the witchcraft people have put against me, let it leave me and go into the can. Yeah. So I did it. I'm like, at this point, let me just see what will happen, So I do it and I put it under the bed.
Right.
He told me to put it under the bed and sleep. So I put it under the bed and slept. But now, before I slept, man, I kept on peeping under the bed.
To see what might happen. What's all this? Considering you remember in the calabash speaking.
Yeah.
You're like, what will happen in this?
What will happen
Is there anything
here?
weird?
But nothing happened. So I finally dozed off. In the morning, I wake up. Jafari calls, Kuja twende, bring the can. So I brought the can. We go back to his hotel, back to his...
It was a sealed can.
Yeah, it was sealed. Zesta. Zesta. That's the plastic seal, and then it has a tin seal that you have to literally... So we get back to his office. Take off our shoes, sit down, he recites incantation again, the voice comes. Instructs us to open up the can. So I open the can. He spreads a newspaper. I removed the plastic myself and I removed the tin myself and emptied the contents of this can on the newspaper. Now, the things I saw there were more than just Zesta, because it was mixed with strawberry jam, but there's other things inside.
Like
things that look like grapes, tomato, things that look like onions. Another thing that looks like those Catholic rosary beads? Yeah, the rosary bead. It was there also. There were some other beads. So he takes a pen. So Jafari takes a pen and then he lifts up
whatever is inside.
Then he explains to that spirit that, hapa tukona, and I don't know how you call a rosary in Swahili, but he explains that this is a rosary here. And then that thing laughs.
What?
And then it laughs. Every time he was explaining, hapa tukona hii, hapa tukona hii.
Inacheka.
Inacheka sana. They are wicked,
That's
man.
almost funny, but I'm imagining at that time it's not funny for you.
Yeah. So I emptied out the contents of the can, spilled it on this newspaper. Jafai is picking up every piece and explaining it to that spirit, and that spirit is laughing. I'm just hearing a voice of laughter coming from that calabash. Then it's explaining what everything was for. One was to prevent you from making money. Another one is from preventing you from traveling. Another one is to shut down your opportunities to excel in business, et cetera, et cetera. So that thing, after it had explained everything, and then I saw like a white string in the middle of that jam. But kumbe, when I followed it, it turned out to be like a dead gecko. Like a chameleon or some kind of lizard type of thing.
White.
This is nasty, yeah. So when I saw this, witchcraft is disgusting, man. It's a filthy, repulsive thing. So, but people do it, and people do it on one another. Families do it to family members. It is rampant. It is all across this continent. That's why God hates it so much. And that's why God said in the Old Testament, in those days before Jesus came, the Old Testament, he was saying, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live."
To live, yes, yeah.
Because he knows their power is abominable power, but it can kill and it can destroy lives. Yeah, and they were killing and destroying lives. So he would say he sentenced them to death to prevent others from entering in and to stop the ones that already begun. I think
now time is killing us, and we haven't even talked about your turnaround. We haven't talked about your music. We haven't talked about your books. So
those events is what led me to understand how the spirit realm works,
right?
And the laws that govern it. And those laws are written in the Bible. There's the laws that are written in the Bible govern the spirit realm.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So now Satan takes advantage of every time you violate one of those laws. And those violations of laws are his entry point.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the training that brought me to where I am today. Like, wow, these spiritual things are real. They, fought against me, but, God delivered me from them. And then as I continue growing in God, I met my wife.
Wow. Yes. Erica Mokisa.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even her, she had her own big story. I bet you need to bring her one of these days so that you can have the side of the story. But you've done 5 books, I think.
Yes, 5 books. Erica Part 1, 7 years in hell. And there's Erica Part 2, 18 years with Lucifer. She talks about serving the devil directly. Then Erica Part 3, witchcraft and spiritual warfare. Guys need to know witchcraft and they need to know that it's real and that spiritual warfare is real. Because somebody will be sleeping on an altar. When he's in the dream, he's being fed food, or in the dream he's having sex, or in the dream you meet a dead relative and you're hugging, or one thing or another. Those things taking place in your dreams, they're not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to be dreaming those things, and if you do, those are powers of the spirit of the kingdom of darkness trying to make covenants
into you,
they want to covenant you. So if you see like somebody who has passed away in your dream, they are hugging you, and that's a covenant. Okay, or if they see, or if you see yourself having sex in a dream, that's a covenant. So you're supposed to wake up and cancel that stuff. Otherwise, that covenant
is binding,
and it will show up in your life.
Okay, quickly, we need to talk about your music because we need to go, and tell us where to get those books. So that people can't get everything on this show, of course. So they can be able, and also your handles.
Sure.
So first, your music, Karibu Home.
Yeah. Karibu Home is a new record, and it's just inviting the prodigal sons out there to come home. The Lord is waiting for them with open arms, and especially after this pandemic, people have been through so much. The economy slowed down and whatnot. So people feel as if God is not there. They've gone on their own ways, but God is saying, Karibu Home. He's welcoming them. He's not blaming them or condemning.
I know people will want to follow a lot of your content from here because this is really not enough. This is even less than a quarter of your story. So please give them your handles so that I can be able to follow up on where to get your books.
Yes. You can find me on YouTube, Bamboo African Bantu. And you can find me on the same handle on Instagram, Bamboo African Bantu. And to get our books, you can call our office. That's 0717-062-098, or actually +254 717-062-098, or +254-799-733-775. And somebody will answer you, and we ship through G4S, so your books arrive the next day.
Life is Spiritual website?
Yes, our website is www.lifeis